Hi students, welcome to lesson number 19 on socialization, their definition, stages, types and agencies. So let us discuss about this introduction. Human infants are born without any culture. They must be transformed by their parents, teachers and others into cultural and social adept animals. The general process of acquiring culture is referred to as socialization. Socialization is known as a process of indicating the individual into the social world. The term socialization refers to the process of interaction through which the growing individual learns the habits, attitudes, values and beliefs of the social group into which he has been born. Socialization is a process by which human infants begin to acquire the skills necessary to perform as a functioning member of their society and is the most influential learning process one can experience. Unlike many others living species whose behavior is biologically set, humans need social experience to learn their culture and to survive. Many scientists say socialization essentially represents the whole process of learning throughout the life course and it is a central influence on the behavior, beliefs and actions of adults as well as of children. Socialization is a term used by sociologists, social psychologists, anthropologists, political scientists and educationalists to refer to the lifelong process of inheriting and disseminating norms, customs and ideologies, providing an individual with the skills and habits necessary for participating within their own society. Socialization is thus the means by which social and cultural continuity are attained. After going through this unit, the student should be able to explain the concept of socialization. He can analyze the stages and types of socialization and also he can describe different agencies of socialization. Now, we will briefly discuss the concept of socialization. Socialization is a process with the help of which a living organism is changed into a social being. It is a process through which the younger generation learns the adult role which it has to play subsequently. It is a continuous process in the life of an individual and it continues from generation to generation. Socialization prepares people to participate in a social group by teaching them its norms and expectations. Socialization has three primary goals: teaching impulse control and developing a conscience, preparing people to perform certain social roles and cultivating shared source of meaning and value. Socialization is culturally specific, but this does not mean certain cultures are better or worse than others. The process of learning one's culture and how to live within it. Socialization is thus a process of cultural learning whereby a new person acquires necessary skills and education to play a regular part in social system. The process is essentially the same in all societies, though institutional arrangements vary. The process continues throughout life as each new situation arises. It is the process of fitting individuals into particular forms of group life, transforming human organism into social being and transmitting established cultural traditions. Now, we will discuss the definition of socialization. In a broader sense, socialization is learning to participate in social roles. It refers to the way the people learn their habits, attitudes, self-conception, group norms and universals of discourse that enable them to interact with other people. Socialization is defined as a process by which we acquire our social identities and internalize the values, norms, statuses and roles of the social world. According to Hawthorne and Hunt, socialization is a process whereby one internalizes the norms of his groups so that a distinct self emerges unique to this individual. According to 𝗪𝗏, it is the process by which social beings establish wider and profounder relationship with one another in which they become more bound up with and perceptive of the personality of themselves and of others and build up the complex structure of nearer and wider association. According to Kimball Young, he writes, socialization will mean the process of inducting the individual into the social and cultural world, of making him a particular member in society and its various groups and inducting him to accept the norms and values of that society. Socialization is definitely a matter of learning and not of biological inheritance. It is through the process of socialization that the newborn individual is molded into a social being and men find their fulfillment within society. Man becomes what he is by socialization. 𝗏𝗏 defines socialization as a process of working together, of developing group responsibility, of being guided by the welfare needs of others. According to Osborne, it is the process by which the individual learns to conform to the norms of the groups. Ross defines socialization as a development of the we feeling in associates and their growth in capacity and will to act together. Through the process of socialization, the individual becomes a social person and attains personality. Green defines socialization as a process by which the child acquires a cultural content along with selfhood and personality. Thus, in short, socialization is a process that prepares a human to function in social life. It should be reiterated here that socialization is culturally relative. People in different cultures and people that occupy different racial, class, gender, sexual and religious social locations are socialized differently. This distinction does not and should not inherently force an evaluative judgment. Socialization, because it is the adoption of culture, is going to be different in every culture and within different subcultures. It is as both a process or an outcome is not better or worse in any particular culture or subculture. Now, we discuss the aims and objectives of socialization. The socialization is mainly aimed at the development of self and the formation of personality. The concept of self refers to the individual as subject, as a source of action and self-reflection, whereas the term personality refers to the individual as object, the object of external evaluation. It is the process through which an individual is molded into an effective participant of society. The following are the main objectives of socialization. First one, it inculcates basic discipline ranging from toilet habits to method of science. It helps in the learning of self-control. Second, it develops skills and capacities needed to fit into the society. Third, it teaches social roles, responsibilities and their supporting attitudes. Fourth, it instills aspirations and satisfies needs of the individual. Fifth, it helps in the transmission of culture from generation to generation. Sixth, it develops a sense of identity and the capacity for independent thought and action, for example, that is learning of language. And seventh, it develops conscience, which is one important characteristic product of this process. Now, we will briefly discuss about the mechanisms of socialization. There are numerous sub-processes of the process of socialization or social learning. The first mechanism, it is nothing but imitation. Imitation is copying by an individual of the action of another. This may be conscious or unconscious, spontaneous or deliberate, perceptual or ideational. It is the main factor in the process of socialization which works from birth to death. As children grow, they take recourse to imitation. Through imitation, he learns to speak da, dada, mama, papa, etc. Next mechanism is suggestion. Suggestion is a process outside the learner. It is a process of communicating information which has no logical or self-evident basis. A person may take a suggestion not only from the conscious and deliberate persuasion of another, but also without the other person's knowing it. It plays a key role in the socialization of the individual. By it, persons are made, unmade and remade. Through suggestion, an educational system molds the minds of children in the desired direction. Propaganda and advertisements are based on these fundamental psychological principles of suggestion. The third mechanism of socialization is sympathy. It simply means to feel with another individual. It binds us more closely with our fellow men. Through the sympathetic reaction, we enter into a fuller understanding of the feelings and motivates of others. For instance, the sight of an ailing person or a disabled person may cause a person to weep or to perform some altruistic act of charity. Another mechanism of socialization is competition. Competition is a stimulative process in which two or more individuals compete with one another in achieving knowledge. It is particularly important in social learning of children. Now, we will discuss the main stages of socialization. The first stage is the oral stage. In the womb, the fetus is warm and comfortable. At birth, the baby faces his first crisis. He must breathe, he must exert himself to be fed, he is susceptible to cold, wet and other discomforts. He cries a good deal in order to attract attention, and during the first stage of socialization, he seeks to establish what is called oral dependency. By his cries, he is able to build up fairly definite expectations about feeding time and also about his pressing needs for care. At this stage, the baby is not involved in the family as a whole. He is rather involved only in the subsystem consisting of him and his mother. If the father or anyone else in the family performs the role of the mother in caring for the baby, no role differentiation is made. That person will also be performing the role of mother. At this stage, the baby does not seem to internalize any role at all. He is so passive as compared to his mother that it is doubtful as to whether he internalized two roles at all. By the time oral dependency has been established, his own role and that of his mother are probably merged together. This is the stage, according to Freud, of primary identification. The next stage is the anal stage. This stage probably begins soon after the first year and extends up to the third year. This period is called anal stage because toilet training is the main focus of attention of the socialized agent, particularly mother. During this stage, the child internalizes two roles, his own and that of his mother. These two roles are now clearly separated. The child not only receives care, he also receives love and gives love in return. During this stage, the child is taught as to how to discriminate between correct and incorrect behavior. First by advice and or hints given by the mother, and secondly by being rewarded or appreciated for correct performance and not rewarded or appreciated for incorrect behavior. The third stage is the latency stage. This stage extends from 4th year to puberty, that is the age of 12 or 13. In the course of the third stage, the child becomes a member of the family as a whole. He identifies himself with the social role ascribed to him on the basis of biological sex. Identification means either of two closely related things. One identifies with a social role, that is, one not only internalizes the role but adopts it as one's own. Second, one identifies with a social group, that is, one internalizes the role system of the group and considers oneself a member of it. Third, identification in the first sense links a boy with his father and brother, but not with his mother. A girl, on the other hand, identifies with her mother and sister, but not with her father. Identification in the second sense links a boy or a girl with the family, including both parents and all siblings. There are thus three kinds of identification: with the father or mother, as the case may be, with the siblings, with the family as a member. The fourth stage is the adolescence stage. Adolescence, which begins roughly at puberty, is the age during which the young boy or girl has a tendency to get away from parental control. The crisis of this age arises from the fact that adolescents hanker after greater freedom, while there is parental control over many activities in which he loves to have his own way. The strain involved in transition during the adolescence period depends upon the cultural definition of adult roles. In some societies, vital decisions concerning adolescence are taken by the parents or guardians. That makes transition easier. In India, it is so. Thus, the choice of a marriage partner is made by elders within conventional rules. Although socializations occur during childhood and adolescence, it also continues in middle and adult age. 𝗪𝗏𝗻 describes socialization as a lifelong process. He maintains that socialization of adults differ from childhood socialization. In this context, it can be said that there are various types of socialization, and the first one is primary socialization. Primary socialization refers to socialization of the infant in the primary or the earliest years of his life. It is a process by which the infant learns language and cognitive skills, internalizes norms and values. The infant learns the ways of a given grouping and is molded into an effective social participant of that group. The norms of society become part of the personality of the individual. The child does not have a sense of wrong and right. By direct and indirect experiences or observation, he gradually learns the norms relating to wrong and right things. The primary socialization takes place in the family. The second type is the secondary socialization. The process can be seen at work outside the immediate family in the peer group. The growing child learns very important lessons in social conduct from his peers. He also learns lessons in the school. Hence, socialization continues beyond and outside the family environment. Secondary socialization generally refers to the social training received by the child in institutional or formal settings and continues throughout the rest of his life. Third type, it is adult socialization. In the adult socialization, actors enter roles, for example, becoming an employee or a husband or a wife, for which primary and secondary socialization may not have prepared them fully. Adult socialization teaches people to take on new duties. The aim of adult socialization is to bring change in the views of the individual. Adult socialization is more likely to change overt behavior, whereas child socialization molds basic values. The fourth type is nothing but the anticipatory socialization. Anticipatory socialization refers to a process by which a man learns the culture of a group with the anticipation of joining that group. As a person learns the proper beliefs, values and norms of a status or group to which he aspires, he is learning how to act in his new role. Fifth one, it is a re-socialization. Re-socialization refers to the process of discarding former behavior patterns and accepting new ones as part of a transition in one's life. Such re-socialization takes place mostly when a social role is radically changed. It involves abandonment of one way of life for another, which is not only different from the former but incompatibly with it. For example, when a criminal is rehabilitated, he has to change his role radically. Now, we will discuss the various agencies of socialization. In general, it may be said that total society is the agency for socialization and that each person with whom one comes into contact and interact in some way an agent of socialization. Socialization is formed in all interactions, but the most influential interaction occurs in particular groups, which are referred to as agencies of socialization. The obvious beginning of the process for the newborn child is his immediate family group, but this is soon extended to many other groups other than family. The most important are the schools, the peer groups, that is the friends and the circle and the mass media. First agency of socialization is the family, and it is a primary agency of socialization. The child first world is that of his family. It is a world in itself in which the child learns to live, to move and to have his being. Within it, not only the biological task of birth, protection and feeding takes place, but also develops those first and intimate association with persons of different ages and sexes which form the basis of the child's personality development. The family is a primary agency of socialization. It is here that a child develops an initial sense of self and habit training such as eating, sleeping, etc. To a very large extent, the indoctrination of the child, whether in primitive or modern complex society, occurs within the circle of the primary family group. The child's first human relationship are with the immediate members of his family. They are the mother, who is like a nurse, siblings, father, and other close relatives. Here he experiences love, cooperation, authority, direction, and protection. Language is also learned from family in childhood. People's perception of behavior appropriate of their sex are the result of socialization, and major part of this is learned in the family. As a primary agents of childhood socialization, parents play a crucial role in guiding children into their gender roles deemed appropriate in a society. They continue to teach gender role behavior either consciously or unconsciously throughout childhood. Families also teach children values they will hold throughout their life. They frequently adopt their parents' attitudes not only about work but also about the importance of education, patriotism, and religion. The other agency of socialization is the school. School is a secondary agency of socialization. Schools not only teach reading, writing, and other basic skills, they also teach students to develop themselves, to discipline themselves, to cooperate with others, to obey rules, and to test their achievements throughout or through competitions. Schools teach sets of expectations about the work, profession, or occupations they will follow when they mature. Schools have the formal responsibility of imparting knowledge in those disciplines which are most central to adult functioning in our society. It has been said that learning at home is on a personal, emotional level, whereas learning at school is basically intellectual. Other agency of socialization is a peer group. The peer group, that is the people of their own age and similar social status, and they are called as playmates, highly influence the process of socialization. In the peer group, the young child learns to conform to the accepted ways of a group and to appreciate the fact that social life is based on rules. Peer group becomes significant others in the terminology of George Herbert Mead for the young child. Peer group socialization has been increasing day by day these days. Young people today spend considerable time with one another outside home and family. Young people living in cities or suburbs and who have access to automobiles spend a great deal of time together away from their families. Studies show that they create their own unique subcultures. The college campus culture, the drug culture, the motorcycle cults, athletic group culture, etc. Peer groups serve a valuable function by assisting the transition to adult responsibilities. Teenagers imitate their friends. The group may encourage a young person to follow pursuits that society considers admirable. On the other hand, the group may encourage someone to violate the cultural norms and values by driving recklessly, shoplifting, stealing automobiles, engaging in acts of vandalism, and the like. Some studies of deviant behavior show that the peer group influence to cultivate behavior pattern is more than the family. The other agency and the major agency of socialization is the mass media. The media is playing a central role in shaping the personality of the individuals from early forms of print technology to electronic communication, that is radio, television, etc. Technological innovations such as radio, motion pictures, recorded music, and televisions have become important agents of socialization since centuries. Television in particular is a critical force in the socialization of children almost all over the New World. Apart from sleeping, watching television is the most time-consuming activity of young people. Related to other agents of socialization discussed above, such as family, peer group, and school, TV has certain distinctive characteristics. It permits imitation and role-playing but does not encourage more complex forms of learning. Watching television is a passive experience. Psychologist called 𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗓 has expressed concern about the insidious influence of television in encouraging children to forsake human interaction for passive viewing. Socialization is one of the powerful instruments of changing the destiny of mankind. Children must learn to walk, talk, eat, and lots of other life skills. Without socialization, individuals cannot develop intelligence and never learn how to perform basic daily functions. Children must know the values, beliefs, and norms of the surrounding culture so that they will be able to know what is expected from them. The process of socialization and the sources of socialization are very important in the developing of children. Thus, socialization is a very important process throughout life.